abstract brainwaves. Game genie in the beanie, we ain't on the same stage, leveled up. The epitome of technique, can't survive in my current thought.
Other yellow hat guy here, back with another video. We've got some more Pokemon Go. Alright, so we had a couple things going on that were interesting, some that were just expected. First, we had the announcement, and again, this is where a couple things were going on. Some were interesting, some were I am thinking on the cuff to make this 2 videos, okay? So let's talk the first part first, and we'll talk about what's going on right now at this moment in the next video. So sorry, kind of not sorry. So what am I talking about here? First, we have these avatars. Niantic is trying to draw more interest in the game. It's not like they aren't always trying to do that, but we know that behind the scenes they look at their data and see the player base and see if more people are playing and less are. They're probably not going to be honest and say when less people are playing. It's just obvious to those of us who actually play regularly, and we see less and less people are willing to engage outdoors. I don't know if that's a fair barometer, but I'm going to say it is. That's not to say that more and more people aren't playing the game remotely, meaning they're doing these remote raid passes, but I still think there's a considerable drop-off. That said, Niantic has a sustainability week. You know, Earth Day is today, as of this video, and they did some interesting things. Starting 4/20, Niantic thinks they have a really good sense of humor, where the last couple of years has been pretty much a grass Pokemon, and Bellsprout being a grass Pokemon, there you go. So I already had the shiny for it, so there was nothing, I was going to get that was different. The only thing I was looking for was more of them. I paid the $1, for the research reluctantly. I figured, why not? And then that ringing in my ear that I think I have right now came by and said, you know what happened with Poliwag, right? You were at a Comic-Con and didn't get all the Poliwag, so you were reminded about it for the rest of the year because you'd see the Bellsprout en masse on Community Day, but hey, probably not going to see it that much after it's over. Now, fortunately, they have this Kanto thing, and we'll talk about that next video, where that's a Kanto Pokemon, so you might still see some of those pop up in the wild, and if you missed out on completing the Community Day, you have an opportunity there. That said, I did get one of every kind. I got, all the way up to Victory Bell, which has a cool looking shiny, and I was just sitting there like, okay, I wish the backgrounds were different. And some people have the new backgrounds already, but as of April 22nd, right now, everyone should have it. So back then, it was a few, people that I saw with it, and not everybody, but you never really realize how stale those backgrounds were until you see how much detail they put into the new ones. But we'll talk about that next video. What are we going to actually talk about in this video? In addition to the Bellsprout Community Day, Niantic released new avatars, and boy, oh boy, people are they're losing it over these things. So, what's my take on it? I always felt like you should be able to make your avatar a little more realistic. It was kind of stale that you had these, copy and paste looking models that the only thing that really changed about them were the hair colors and, the gender and also the ethnicity. So different shades of colors, but your size, your height, your weight, all of that, Niantic wasn't getting into, and I guess they felt like it wasn't that important at the time. But two, maybe there was some issues they were worrying about when it came to, hey, if we're marketing these towards children, do you take in consideration that people body shame one another and all those things? All those things are, on one hand you're worried about, but on the other hand you're like, who cares about any of that? Because some of us, myself included, don't even pick a character that looks like ourselves. Now, I could have another account where I do that, but on my main account, it's like, no, I'm just going to make a character that I would want to look at. It's enough to be myself in real life to also then be myself again in video games. If the game's really good, I don't think about, hey, that's me that's in there through how the character looks, but hey, that's me as in my interactions, my movements, my feelings, you know. So there's that. Now some people are saying, hey, these models, they look worse than the original ones. I don't know about that, but I can see shape-wise, especially for the women, it's like, hey, although I might be a bigger person, the hips and the posterior and all that don't add up. Niantic gave you the option to change your hairstyles. That was the first thing people were really wanting. Like, hey, we should have different hairstyles in here. So it's good that they did that. But the faces, they give you about 6 or 7, maybe 8 face types. Not really a fan of most of them. There's only like 3 of them where like, that looks like it could be somebody's actual face. But the problems then lie in the curves. The women who I see speak out about this feel like, hey, they didn't allow me to be curvy, so therefore they feel the characters still look masculine. And maybe that was a decision on Niantic's part to say, we don't want to sexualize these characters. But people have found ways to do that anyway. So, you know, there you go. You're not going to be able to stop what people want to do with whatever game that they have. Try as you might, people are going to find ways to, you know, make things the way they want them to be as close as they can. That's my take on it. Me personally, the characters look a little weird. I guess maybe in time I'll get used to it. It's not like prior to these avatar updates there was anything to go by. But the avatars were just so static, you didn't really think anything of it. Now when you interact with other people in parties, then it might be something that draws your attention. So I haven't really messed with all the different clothing types that I had prior to see how they look on the avatars now, but the few that I did, it's almost like, hey, these look worse. These outfits look worse than they did on the static avatar. Because at least the outfits made the static avatar look a little less bland. Now you realize how you don't like how your avatar looks with the clothes, so you try to change the avatar to make the clothes look better. It's like the chicken and the egg, sort of. I digress. No complaints for me for the avatar as of now. I just worry that if enough people complain, they'll do 1 or 2 things. Or maybe 3. The third being they just don't listen. But the first being they revert it back. Or, more than likely, they'll say, hey, for a certain price you can pay for premium features. Oh, you want a bigger butt on your character? $199. Or you want to add more muscles to your guy, you know, that's going to be, $199. So, who knows? At a certain point, it's like, hey, maybe people want their characters to, if they have a disability, to be in wheelchairs and all this other stuff that Niantic could cater to, but as of right now, they haven't, and somebody somewhere is wanting that. It's not me complaining, just making observation on the fact that, if you are able to update the appearance and put all these assets in the game to make it look beautiful, you're not going to be able to please everybody. So we'll see what they do going forward. That said, how many Bellsprout did you get? Did you do the research? Did you not? What did you think of that community day? Personally, I felt like, hey, Bellsprout was already shiny. Maybe not as much in the wild, but, it was an opportunity for them to keep the joke running of, grass Pokemon, I guess. I was not even really prepared for it in the sense that I was on my calendar saying, you know what? Bellsprout Community Day. That's what I'm looking forward to. It wasn't even on my radar. I did get probably about 8 of them, I believe. So, not really looking to trade those as much. I feel like a bunch of people have them already. But, hey, if you need one, holla at your boy. As always, I hope to see you again soon. If I don't, remember, good afternoon, good evening, good night, other yellow hat guys out. Stay tuned for the next video. We're going to talk about the rest of what they're doing, to my knowledge, for Sustainability Week.
Captain Sensation!